Dragonlance, Shadow of the Dragon Queen. I really like dragons. I don't know if you can tell. But you guys didn't come here to hear my opinions on dragons. You came here to hear about moon stuff. Welcome to Pack Tactics, where Dungeons and Dragons is not a phase. Kobold, I'm gonna morb! Gator, that's a vampire, not a werewolf. Or is this a werewolf? No, it's not a werewolf. Heck! To be serious, I do like some of the flavor options they give you at the start. It can give you a lot of inspiration for your characters. But it's time to get into the actual features. At level 1, they get 2 features. First up is Lunar Embodiment. You learn additional spells when you reach certain levels in this class, as shown in the Lunar Spells table. Each of these spells counts as a sorcerer spell for you, but it doesn't count against the number of sorcerer spells you know. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can choose what lunar phase manifests its power through your magic. Full moon, new moon, or crescent moon. While in the chosen phase, you can cast one first level spell of the associated phase in the Lunar Spells table once without expending a spell slot. Once you cast a spell in this way, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. Wow, this is a lot of spells, and you learn each of them, not just the ones of your phase. In total, you get 12 additional spells known, which is even more than Clockwork Soul and Aberrant Mind. Clockwork Soul gets 10 of them, and Aberrant Mind gets 11 if you count the cantrip as well. Their spell swapping works a bit differently though. Clockwork and Aberrant had specific rules on what you could swap their spells with. But it opened up options beyond just sorcerer spells. The Lunar Sorcerer, however, can swap their spells using the base sorcerer rules. Additionally, when you gain a level in this class, you can choose one of the sorcerer spells you know and replace it with another spell from the sorcerer spell list, which also must be of a level for which you have spell slots. While it doesn't count against the spells you know, you have learned them, so you are free to replace them. This increases your versatility by a ton, giving you the ability to pick up strong spells that other sorcerers would not have the space for. If this for some odd reason is not allowed at your table, you'll have to do with the spells in the table. There are a couple of hits and misses here. While shields, dispel magic, and potentially even blindness, deafness are sorcerer spells, getting them without counting against your spells known is really nice. Some outstanding spells that are usually not accessible to sorcerer are Death Ward and potentially Lesser Restoration and Telepathic Bond. What? No Phantom Steed? I was getting to that. Phantom Steed is actually the best one here. It is especially good if you can scribe scrolls in your campaign using the scribing a scroll rule in Xanathars. Because you can get the Ritual Caster feat to get Phantom Steed as a ritual spell, which is something sorcerers usually wouldn't be able to do at all. It could also make Telepathic Bond a bit more usable as well. But Kobold, that's just a wizard with extra steps. And wizards are incredibly strong. Anyways, for now, the only way your choice of phase matters is the once per day free casting of a spell. There are no other mechanical consequences to the choice. That is why I recommend you pick Full Moon for now, as you'll definitely want to cast Shield at least once a day. By the way, guys, I just realized something. It's soon Christmas, so let's talk about the perfect gift. This video is sponsored by Only Crits, where you can crit on Christmas. Look at all these dice, they're in the snow, and these are spinning around. I have fun dice fact this time. Dice are used for rolling in this game, and then you get a number, and then you add the bonus from your character sheets to get a total number. It's a little math game. You learn how to count and add numbers. Kobold, I rolled an 8. Plus 4, that's 12. Is that a success? Gator, D&D is cancelled this week. I couldn't think of any good adventures we could go on. But Kobold, I bought dice from Only Crits and got a free adventure with it. Look, Kobold! Moon people! Moon people! Oh, wow! You get to go to the moon! Kobold, I've been to the moon! It was fun! Oh yeah, that was a rope trick video. By the way, Only Crits now has 15 new adventures in their catalog. Holy moly! They've also got other things like dice trays, cases, scrolls, a dice tower, and even inspiration coins. I highly recommend you check them out, and if you do, please press the link in the description. That helps me too. Onlycrits.com/packtactics. And if you like what you see, you can get some dice yourself. Use the coupon code PACKTACTICS for 12% discount. Now for the second feature, Lunar Sorcerer gets a level 1, Moonfire. You know the Sacred Flame spell, which doesn't count against the number of sorcerer cantrips you know. When you cast a spell, you can target one creature as normal or target 2 creatures within range that are within 5 feet of each other. This is similar to Death Domain Cleric's Reaper feature. This is a slight damage bump. I would rather cast something with a very useful rider effect like Ray of Frost, or I can dip into Warlock to get Eldritch Blast. And of course enhance Eldritch Blast with something like Repelling Blast. Oh yeah, did you know Sacred Flame doesn't work through Wall of Force or Total Cover because you cannot target creatures through that cover. I can make a video to explain this in more detail if you guys want. Level 6, we get Lunar Boons. The current phase of your Lunar Embodiment can affect your metamagic feature. Each Lunar Embodiment phase is associated with certain schools of magic, as shown here. Full Moon is Abjuration and Divination spells. New Moon is Evocation and Necromancy spells. Crescent Moon is Illusion and Transmutation spells. Whenever you use this metamagic on a spell of a school of magic associated with your Lunar Embodiment phase, you can reduce the sorcery points spent by 1, minimum of 0. You can reduce the sorcery points spent for your metamagic a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. And you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Your phase now impacts more than your free casting of shield. This whole feature is a lot of words for something that in its best case scenario gives you 3 extra sorcery points per day, and 6 from level 17 and onwards. This would require you to cast enough spells from the specified spell schools though, which might be a bit difficult. The Full Moon phase could allow you to cast Counterspell with Subtle Spell a bit more freely because it wouldn't cost any sorcery points. With Subtle Spell, your Counterspell wouldn't be able to be counterspelled. Up yours, DM. Also in Full Moon, you can twin spell Death Ward more times, or maybe Banishment. Or in Crescent Moon phase, you could use the same meta magic for Phantasmal Force or Polymorph. Finally, also for Crescent Moon, you could use Hypnotic Pattern with Careful Spell. Overall, I would use Subtle Spell sooner on this sorcerer and just use that more often. That may not be very useful if you don't face spellcasters often. There are of course more options though, so. Our other feature at level 6 is Waxing and Waning. As a bonus action, you can spend 1 sorcerer point to change your current Lunar Embodiment phase to a different one. You can cast 1 first level spell from each Lunar phase of the Lunar Spell table once without expending a spell slot, provided your current phase is the same as a Lunar phase spell. Once you cast a Lunar phase spell in this way, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. Yay! More free casts of shield. Well, that's if you're in the Full Moon phase, that is. This feature is only worth using if you want to cast more than 1 spell from another phase using your meta magic. You definitely shouldn't swap to another phase to get a free cast of Ray of Sickness or Color Spray at level 6. That's just silly. It's not worth 1 sorcery point. Level 14, Lunar Empowerment. While you are in a Lunar Embodiment phase, you can also gain the following benefits associated with that phase. Full Moon, you can use a bonus action to shed bright light in a 10-foot radius and dim light for an additional 10 feet, or to douse the light. In addition, you and creatures of your choice have advantage on investigation and perception checks while within the bright light you shed. New Moon, you have advantage on stealth checks. In addition, while you are entirely in darkness, attack rolls have disadvantage against you. Crescent Moon, you have resistance to necrotic and radiant damage. Before I talk about these features, I want to show how Full Moon changed after its UA iteration. Look, they massacred my boy! This subclass was basically worth playing just because of this feature. They removed the best parts. Why? I'm level 14, just give it to me. The best one now is New Moon, which in practice works similar to Gloomstalker Ranger and greatly enhances your defenses if your party is willing to venture in the dark. This should not be much to ask for if you bring up that bullseye lanterns exist. I'll link a video that talks about them in the context of Gloomstalker Ranger below. That's an old video. Reddit hated it for some stupid reason. Imagine thinking a flashlight is bad. In some situations, you would want to use Crescent Moon if you know you'll be up against someone with those damage types. However, by base, you'll likely want to be running around in New Moon. 18th level, Capstone, Lunar Phenomenon. As a bonus action, you can tap into a special power of your current lunar embodiment phase. Alternatively, as a bonus action you take to change your lunar phase using Waxing and Waning feature, you can immediately use the power of the lunar phase you are entering. Full Moon, you radiate moonlight for a moment. Each creature of your choice within 30 feet of you must succeed on a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC or be blinded until the end of its next turn. In addition, one creature of your choice in that area regains 3d8 hit points. New Moon, you momentarily emanate gloom. Each creature of your choice within 30 feet of you must succeed on a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC or take 3d10 necrotic damage, and have its speed reduced to 0 until the end of its next turn. In addition, you become invisible until the end of your next turn, or until immediately after you make an attack roll or cast a spell. Crescent Moon, you can magically teleport to an unoccupied space that you can see within 60 feet of yourself. You can bring along one willing creature that you can see within 5 feet of yourself. That creature teleports to an unoccupied space of your choice that you can see within 5 feet of your destination space. In addition, you and that creature gain resistance to all damage until the start of your next turn. Once you use one of these bonus action benefits, you can't use that benefit again until you finish a long rest, unless you spend 5 sorcery points to use it again. Let me go over each phenomenon one by one. Full Moon, at this level, most enemies will be able to whack you even with disadvantage from the blinded condition. And 3d8 healing will not be useful except to bring someone up from 0 HP. New Moon, the damage of this option is pretty bad compared to something like Fireball, which we got access to a long time ago. But reducing creature speed can be quite powerful. Crescent Moon, having this in your back pocket is quite handy. It helps marshals too. Well, if there is marshals, they've probably been true polymorphed at this point. Overall, I would say New Moon is the best because of the speed reduction, but Crescent Moon definitely has its uses too. I wouldn't call any of them capstone material though. So Kobold, what do you think of this subclass? I do like the amount of flexibility it allows. With Phantom Steed and a huge amount of additional spells, this subclass is totally up there with Divine, Clockwork, and Aberrants. I'm not gonna put it in a tier list because I haven't fully made up my mind. Just know that it's up there. End of video. Only Crits hopes to earn your purchase, and I hope to earn your subscription. Remember, you get a free adventure with the dice. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.